Big challenge this week. This is it's a really good unit we're about to face. So I know our players are fired up about the opportunity to play them down in Tampa, and 4:30 game is right up their alley. So good opportunity for us. Open it up.
Walk us through the anatomy of the snap between the legs play. It just kind of sounds like it came to your attention. Maybe Steve saw it watching Goldie's film. Just how it went from there to.
Yeah, we've got a we've got a library of things that catch our eye, whether in the NFL, college. That goes back for years now. In fact, I think one of the plays we showed, we didn't actually run, was from the NFL, like 2007. Last week we had a play up. It was fuzzy film, and our guys are like looking at us sideways. But no, we've got a group of guys. All the young guys, obviously, they're a little bit more versed in the college game, having been there most recently. And Stephen Oliver played a critical role in that play coming up for us. We had noticed on tape, not to give away too much information, but whenever the quarterback would get up and give some movements, the defensive line might settle back, or take a knee or something of that sort. So we're just looking to take advantage of that and drive off the ball. It wasn't anything special about the play, but just the way to get to it was a good idea there by Stephen.
Do you know if you first saw that just from watching Goldie, or pre-draft stuff, or you guys call me tapes regularly, just looking for?
No, we've got cut-ups that we can always dive back into. I mean, shoot, those guys have a million ideas each week that they bring up. They probably miss more shots than they make right now, because they come up with a good 12 ideas, and maybe we only take 2 or 3 each week. But that was certainly something that he had in the archive from watching Colby's tape.
Just one last thing. What was sort of incubator is college for you? Just in some of these play concepts, designs, things that you put into your offense. Just it seems like a lot of things start in high school and have to be in college.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in our own bubble in the NFL, and you'll see coaches in the NFL, they steal from other coaches. You're just watching the same game tape as you're looking to attack a defense each week. And rarely do you, during the season, as an NFL coach, have time to go back to the college game. There are things that pop up every year when we evaluate the college prospects that holy cow, that's a great idea. Chip Kelly, back when he was in New Hampshire, kind of used that as his laboratory as he came up with all these cool ideas that he was doing up there. And then as he went to Oregon, to Philly, those things kind of blew up and took the league by storm, if you will. So, there's a million great ideas out there. And sometimes the college game, there's I don't want to say there's less at stake, but there's maybe not as much scrutiny if something goes wrong. So you got the green light to be a little bit more creative. And truthfully, that's the wonderful thing about our head coach, is he's not afraid to go ahead and do some things that maybe haven't been done before in this league.
Speaking of borrowing ideas or stealing ideas, have you ever had?
Did you say steal?
I forget what it is. But Kyle Shanahan pretty much admitted he's straight up stole the playbook. Just has that ever that quickly happened? Just within watching it, putting it in a game?
No. He, I'm sure that's something they've been working on for weeks. And we stole it elsewhere, In fact, that's a play that we had with David Blau in his rookie year, and Bevel was here. I still remember it. We ran it a couple times that season. I think that was 2019 maybe. Brock Wright scored a touchdown on that one a couple years ago as well. So we've been having that one, and just some weeks are better than others for when we feel like it's gonna be a good one. But that's also one we took from the college game.
Decker was lined up for that one.
Yeah.
And he went to the sideline and he said, "You're a sicko." How has it been being on the receiving end of just some of the reaction? I know on our end, all over Twitter, and people are just, you're a genius, you're cooking all these things. And it was funny to see Taylor Decker say that, but what's it been like to be on the receiving end of that?
It's only good if it works, and I know that every time one of these gets dialed up, we spend a lot of time as a staff, the head coach, the offensive staff, on when to pull these things out to give us the best chance of them actually succeeding. Because if they don't, then it's a little bit of egg on your face. So I can't say the snap between the legs was really a third down call for us last week, but just within the game, it just felt right, and so ended up working out. But truthfully, we didn't block it particularly well, and David Montgomery made a great play. So when the players are believing and they're buying in, usually good things happen.
I guess for you guys have built, the squad kind of internally. You haven't added any flashing free agents. So I guess from your perspective, the confidence that anybody can step in, plug in, what gives you that confidence that anybody can step in and you're still able to put up 42 points?
No, it's practice every week. There's show team players for us right now on the offensive scout team going against our defense every week that we're watching every single day. And I know if they get the opportunity, I know what they're capable of. We know what they're capable of. And that's all they need is just that opportunity. There's a million really good players, and they just don't ever get the opportunity. We have a lot of them here on our practice squad right now. So, we don't blink an eye. It's not lip service when we say next man up. These guys know that. I told you last year we played 10 receivers, 10 linemen. It's going to be like that again this year, at some point during the season. So they're ready to go.
You've dealt with some absences and injuries at the wide receiver position, but along the whole way, Josh Reynolds has just been kind of that steady guy for you. Just his importance through 5 weeks and kind of giving you some stability at that position when you've had some suspensions, some injuries, some other stuff, kind of with some uncertainty in that position.
Yeah, I mean, he's played really good ball for a long time, even going back to LA. Obviously, Jared has a rapport with him. They're very comfortable together. I love how smart he is as a play caller, because we can move him to any spot on the field and he won't blink an eye. And so we try to take advantage of all his skills and utilize those. But the fact that he can handle being anywhere at any moment, it's really invaluable to that room. Because some guys, we try to just limit them to one spot, maybe 2 spots. He can do it all.
It's a hard league. Demands are high on players. So with these non-traditional football plays, these trick plays, whatever you want to call them, how valuable is it to just have that, I guess, element of levity, fun? You still got to execute it, obviously, but just what does that do to, I guess, a player's mindset to know that it's in the playbook every week and then to be able to incorporate them in the game fairly regularly?
I think our players, they totally understand that this game still comes down to fundamentals. Ball security, blocking, catching, run after catch. Those are things that we've harped on as a coaching staff in the springtime, training camp. Heck, we did early last week. We came back and we spent a significant amount of time just reminding the players how important those key fundamentals are to what we do. Those are the building blocks. So everything else that we do are based on that. So all the tricks, all the creativity, we couldn't have it if we're not playing with good pad level, if we're not securing the ball properly, if we're not looking to knife after we catch the ball, those types of things. They've embraced that, and because they have, that allows us as a coaching staff to push the limits.
Zachary called you a sicko, and Shark called you a little evil genius, I think, a year or so ago. How do you describe your play calling style?
Calculated, I guess that's one way to say it. Like I said, we put a lot of time as a staff into building a good plan, putting our guys in the right spots, and then, Friday and Saturday, it just comes down to, hey, what's the best spot to call this? Where in the game, what situation, what spot on the field, all those things. So, and then we have as a staff, we come up with plays each week. Hey, we must get this off the game plan. We must call this at some point. And so we're always looking for those opportunities to call those. So.
Before we had him back for a week with Jameson Williams, the early impressions of him with the time on the way, and I see you guys start working in a couple of different targets last week. How do you see him contributing and helping the squad moving forward?
He's going to continue to get better every single week. That's been the biggest issue with JMO, is the fact that we haven't been able to stack good days on top of each other just since he's been here. And so he had a great week of practice last week. I'm looking forward to him doing that again this week, because that's the way you get better. That's the way you gain trust of the play caller, the quarterback. Quarterback will play faster, have more anticipation of where he's going to be, and we'll be able to continue to give him opportunities to catch the ball and be the playmaker that he's capable of being. The coolest thing that came from the game the other day was The guy's such a big competitor. You see him blocking in the run game like he is. Like, if he blocks like that, there'll be snaps for him every week. There's no problem there. And then the challenge is, hey, how do we get him the ball? And we'll keep pushing it that way. But, I've got no problem with where he's at right now and where he's going.
Ben, with Sam Laporta, how rewarding has it been to work with him? Dan said that you guys have been giving him a lot. He's been handling it, had record success so far early in this offense. What's it been like, and how rewarding has it been to work with a player that you can give a lot and you have high expectations and he delivers?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what he can't do right now because really he's been really impressive handling it all. So he's done a phenomenal job. He's a pro as a rookie. He's a pro. I give credit every time his name comes up to his position coach, Steve Hyden. He's done a phenomenal job with him, getting him ready week in and week out. And Sam is uber talented as well. You see a lot of young guys in this league, particularly at that position. They're either really strong pass catchers, or maybe they're shifted the other way and they're more in the blocking department. And he's equally good in both ways. So another member of our unit that is really invaluable to what we're doing right now.
Good morning. Really good win last week. Looking forward to this next opponent. All right.
Next opponent, much like Seattle, you look at just the weapons they have outside
Yep.
at receiver. Just what jumps out to you on tape, and how good of a duo is Godwin and Evans?
I mean, just like any team, like the receiver position in this league is becoming one where you have at least 3 of these guys that you got to challenge. So, and I know those guys. I've been going against those guys for like 6 years. You know, they're really good players. They're tough. They go up and get the jump ball. So it'd be good to get a chance to go at these guys again.
You challenged Isaiah Bugs this season. I mean, starting inactive the way you guys did. He's worked his way back into a role. He's having a big impact. What do you like about the way he's responded to maybe some adversity here early in the season?
I don't know if you want to call it adversity, but listen, you earn your right, and that's I've been saying that since 21, since I first got here, and that's not going to change, and that's just who I am as a coach. There's no free rides on this defense, so it doesn't matter if you're a first pick, last pick, practice squad. It doesn't matter. Every time you go out there on the grass, you're earning the right to go out there and play with the other men, and that's my responsibility. To make sure, because I have responsibility to all the guys, I have responsibility to the head coach, to the coaching staff, to make sure that we go out there and play the guys that's going to play up to a high level. And Bugs is doing that right now, which we knew that he could do. So it was nothing against him not doing what he needs to do. It was just other guys start stepping up.
Can you sense, I guess, the fire that's been lit under him? Because it seems like
Bugs has always had a fire. That's not his issue. I'm sure you guys have talked to him. You know, that's not his issue. You know, so the thing is, I like exactly where Bugs is at. And the good thing about it is, man, he has a way that he can continue to improve. And that's what we're looking forward to with that player.
Wanted to ask about Broderick Martin. How are you seeing his development, and what potential does he have to maybe debut in the coming weeks?
Well, I can't say exactly when he's going to play, but I tell you what, I like where he's at. And I like how he's improving. And that's what we talk about with that player all the time, as far as his awareness, as far as how we play defense for the most part. Excited about that player still. I mean, he's still a big body that can move. So each week, him getting a chance to go against our O-line is the best thing he can ever have.
Obviously, a different type player. James Houston took a similar path last year.
Yep.
Kind of a similar track here, working Martin through the kinks.
Well, I don't know about that. I think James Houston came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. We knew that he had talent. But, man, it just – the rise that Houston had from going against our O-line, we just talked about with Martin, was outstanding. So we're looking at it somewhat similar because he's getting a chance to go against a good O-line and be able to practice those techniques that we're teaching him.
Where's he gotten better?
Say it again?
Where has he gotten better?
Lateral agility, for one, and he's working after practice on that like every day. All right, that's the first thing. The second thing is hand placement. You know, that's something that's been different for him, where he's putting his hands. And just understanding exactly the way that we play defense.
We spoke with Dan Johnson, he said he felt like the offense had really even scratched the surface of what they can be. I guess on the defensive aspect, do you feel that's kind of similar for you guys? And so, like, why do you feel like the sample size of just 5 games is sustainable even with
because we're in the improvement business. And every time we go to practice, we look to improve. So you would hear me say that no matter what. You know, we could be the 85 Bears, and I would tell you that we can still improve. You know, so and what you said was correct, because you have guys going in and out, and that's just the nature of this league, injuries, and you have guys got to come in and step up, and they have to end up playing to the ability of the guys that's been playing at that spot. And our guys been doing a pretty good job with that.
You doing anything differently as far as your approach to the season at all, or is it just
As far as
just your approach to getting the defense ready to start the season, getting up to the start?
That's a good question. I would say there were times when I changed the verbiage of what I'm going to say, but for the most part, these guys know exactly where I'm headed to. You know, so because definitely I don't want to get stale. You know, so the verbiage can change somewhat.
I don't know if you saw Baker much early in his career, but how was he different? How was he involved?
Very impressed with how he's looking on tape. Played against him our first year. I think we had 2 INTs or whatnot, but I think it was a sloppy game. I think it was raining that game. But I tell you what, he is a big time competitor. That can hurt you, that can help you, right? In his case, but you see right now he's able to use that and bring that team exactly where they are as far as being 3-1, and they're doing a good job with him, allowing him to manage the game. When he can get a chance to take his shots, now he's going to take his shots because he has those 2 big guys out there, and he trusts those guys. He'll throw it up to them.
Just to follow up on that, one of your players did say yesterday that one of the things that jumps
Uh-oh.
most out about him is the trash that he talks.
I mean, that's not going anywhere. I mean, that's who he is, and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that because sometimes people try to put you in this box and try to get you to be somebody else, and he's going to be himself, and that's what I like about that player.
Does that fuel the defense? So I guess that was the quick. You know, can the defense?
We're always fueled.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who we play against. We're always fueled.
Tampa's run game probably not the level they had hoped at this point in the season, but just coming off a bye week, is there a bit of skepticism or that they might not be showing you what they put out there so far?
I can't answer that. The only thing I do know, they're committed to it, and usually when you're committed to it, that's a really good sign for play action. You know, so I think they're doing a really good job with, listen, it's not working, we're going to get away from it now. This head coach and this coordinator is sticking with it, which I think is a really good plan by an offense.
Where's Wirfs in terms of the best tackles you guys will?
Say it again.
Tristan Wirfs, where is he in terms of the best tackles in the league and some of the best tackles in the league?
Well, I'm not one to rank those guys, but I will say he's a big time player. You know, and in this league, you know, most of those guys that's out on the edge. Now it's not just a left tackle, like the left and the right tackle has become like pretty dominant players in this league right now. So we're aware of him. We know what he brings to the table. So be ready for him.
Earlier this week, Dan said Jack's ready for a bigger role. You put him in positions that maybe he wasn't utilized a whole lot in college, so there's been a learning curve there. Where does he need to show a little bit more growth to take that next step here early in his career?
To me, it's similar to what we were just talking about with Bug. It's not the fact that he's not growing. It's the fact that guys in front of him or behind him are playing well, too, and they deserve to play. You know, Barnes, for example, Rodrigo, he didn't get as much playing time, but, man, that room has a lot of talent. And, man, they practice their ass off. And when they get a chance to get in the game, like, they play at a high level. So the thing is as Jack continues to grow, and it's not like he's not playing bad or anything like that. It's just the other guys are playing good, too. And as he continues to grow, man, just like any other guys, he's going to continue to get more playing time.
Can you talk about the development of Stephen Gilmore a little bit? And
Yeah.
he will be one of those with Emmanuel Mosley going down. He's
Yeah.
contributing on Sundays or
Well, we'll see. We'll see. He's a part of the plan that we have. We call him Gilly Lock, you know, because he has lockdown potential, you know. So has some of that from his brother. I guess you could say that. But he's a good one to have. We're excited about the player. And at some point, he'll be out in the field helping us.
What can you say about how Jerry Jacobs has evolved with you guys? And, I mean, 3 interceptions already so
Yep.
far, but you talk about people earning their spot and going, starting undrafted and now, at the top of the league with interception.
That's good because that's exactly what he's done, right, throughout his career is earn his keep. And, man, I'm happy for that player because of that fact. Like, he wasn't a player that actually intercepted a lot of balls, and now he's worked on that this offseason to start to pay off for him. And, man, he's catching it with his hands. All right, that's a huge deal for a defensive back to be able to go up and pluck the ball out of the air, and he's done that a couple of times. So I'm excited to continue to see his growth as far as where is he going as far as these interceptions are concerned.
That most recent interception, Jerry was a big man corner coming in, right?
Yep.
Dan, credit you for the call you had on that play that baited him, baited the quarterback in the inside. But to trust Jerry in that spot to execute that zone look
Yeah.
the way he did, I mean, how proud of you of that growth?
I would say this first. Any guy that we have on the field, there's a trust factor there. So Jerry has earned that trust once he started to play the way he's been playing. And he actually earned that in practice. So it's no surprise why he's a starter for us. It's no surprise why he's playing the way he's playing. But in this league, as a corner, you just can't be a one-trick pony. You have to be able to play multiple coverages, and he's able to do that. And he's been progressing right at that level, playing zone and playing man, and I think it's starting to pay off for him.
Coach, on the offensive screen, I think the direct snap to David Montgomery playing. Did
Yeah.
you sneak that up on your defense to get a live reaction of it? How did it go?
I can recall seeing that play. My mind is so into what's going on defense that I really didn't even see the play when it happened, because I think I was talking to some of the DBs at the time, but it's pretty unique. It's pretty unique, and I forgot where he said he got it from, but I mean, Ben's the type of guy that he's not afraid to try things. And I think that's a really good trait of his, because some guys are stuck in the mode of just doing one thing, and he's a guy that's not afraid of trying things.
They got from college, just to follow on that, they got William and Mary, like, college seems to be an incubator in high school for that matter.
Yeah.
These trick plays. Is that the case on defense too? Like, do you see some things that were from colleges?
Well, I'll tell you what, these concepts that these college coaches have are pretty unique, offensively and on special teams. So, man, just to be able to watch those things and exactly see how they coach it, and defensively how they're defending certain things like these RPO games, because they say that a lot. It's pretty unique, and I try to, for the most part, go and visit a college coach in the offseason as much as I can. And I really do enjoy like those conversations, because I learn a lot just from the college game of understanding how they see things and how those things can actually translate to the NFL, because that game is actually coming to the NFL. And it's helped me on a number of occasions on how I want to scheme some things.
Oh, no. It's good.
It was I think it was kind of a surprise to hit it to their, it's a 5 or 1, the other was the outside, he just sort of floated it, the guy just caught it.
Surprise onside kick. Yeah. I thought the guy last week's onside kick was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm asking that because I wonder if, we see it in offense and hearing what you stuff about this on defense a little bit, how you steal some concepts from college, right? It can be incubator, trick plays and whatnot. Do you do that on special teams?
Yeah, I think if I see something, I would definitely be intrigued. Obviously, things like this happen, or somebody tells me here and there, like, "Hey, did you see that?" And then I'll look at it. I don't comb as much college film as maybe some of these guys do, but yeah, it's good. Good question. Yeah, I'm gonna check out Wyoming. We'll run it next week. I didn't win the Powerball. I still believe that I'm going to sit down with Belichick one of these days. And I still believe I'm going to win the Powerball.
Stick with the theme of college. His USC play where they tried to throw the punt returner onto the ball, like a gang of them tried to.
No, I didn't see that play, but I have been a part of a play that I feel like sounded like what you're talking about, and it's incredible. One of the guys in the building were talking to me about all the rules and penalties and what's on the film this week from the officials, and anyways, he was talking about one of them. We had one where Chase Lucas kind of got close to the returner on a fair catch, but he was also being hung up with the gunner a little bit, or the jammer, and they said that they blocked us into that guy a little bit, so I think his arm grazed him or something like that. But anyway, but there was one where it was like the guy clearly grabs us, and then because we're getting grabbed, like he starts pushing back, and they're like, well, no, because you were blocking him, you were pushing him back. But it's crazy. Anyway, so long story short, yeah, that rule, I mean, it is crazy.
It was against Arizona, coach. You should go watch
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. SC Arizona. If it's got Arizona in it.
Can you talk about Khalil Dorsey? He returns from the IR today. Is he? Where do you see him fitting back into your special teams unit?
Yeah, obviously, Dorsey did a great job for us in that first game. He was out there against Kansas City, and really he played in all 4 phases in that game. I think the first step is getting him back on the practice field. He's been working out without us the last handful of weeks, but getting him back out there and then just seeing how it goes. Hopefully he progresses to the point he can play, but we'll see how the week goes, I guess.
One of the only teams to have not punted for a touchback this year. I guess how important is that to you to be able to get teams inside the 20?
Yeah, it's a good pickup by you because it is really important to me, actually. And it's something that we haven't been great at the first few years I've been here, I don't think. And sometimes, the stat by itself is like any of these stats. It can mean something, but it could be not as meaningful as some people think. If you're taking a touchback and you're punting from your own 40-yard line, then the ball was a 60-yard punt. Some people call it like 60-40. 60-yard punt, 40-yard net. Well, in the old days, 40-yard net was good. 40-yard net's a little more common nowadays. But you can kick from your 35 and it'd be a 45-yard net. You'd say that's a great play. So even though there's a touchback on a punt like that, maybe that is a good punt. So that number by itself is not necessarily totally meaningful. But when you're punting in that midfield range and you're having touchbacks, you're obviously giving away a lot of field position. We had the one punt last week where we were punting in that plus area of the field, and the guy took a fair catch, or we pinned him down on the 10. So it was a positive play. But yeah, so it's a big deal. Fox has done a better job with that. I think I said that to you guys a couple of weeks ago or a month or so ago when you asked about, how he's done and, his progression and what he's done better. That would be one thing.
Does it matter where he's punting from, or just his accuracy in those opportunities?
Yeah, I think just being more consistent as a punter, accuracy, ball placement, width of the punt has a big effect on down in the punt. You can make the gunners look a lot better the wider that punt is. The more it's down the middle, obviously they're lined up with width. They have to come back to the middle of the field. Makes it harder on them and takes longer for them to get there. Obviously, they're running a longer line. But so there's a lot to the play, but yeah, mostly accuracy, consistency.
Where are you looking for improvement? You guys seem to have a pretty solid special teams area. You talked about Fox, right? It's perfect kind of here. What are the little areas that you're looking for some growth here, I guess, for the line?
Yeah, I feel like we can improve really in all areas, and I think that's really what the season is. I tell these guys every week, you got an opportunity to learn from the last game and get better, and really that's the goal, is that you get better and better. And if you're going to be a good football team, you're playing your best football down the stretch, and so you've gotten better every week. We've been covering kicks well, but for example, in the last game, there was one kick that got out past the 30. And it was just kind of a little misfit, you know what I mean? And so it was an opportunity for everybody to learn, okay, how to fit that play if you become the guy who's in that position, which may happen to somebody else this week, we don't know. So it's just, there's a million learning examples and ways to improve from every single rep. I always say, like, that game tape is gold to us, man. It's just an opportunity to teach and grow and develop and learn. And it's not only the guys out there on the field playing the plays, but like as you've seen that's happened to us, there's been a lot of turnover. And we played a lot of different players, due to injury and guys up and down on game day. And so it's not only the guy who's getting the physical rep learning, but it's also the guy sitting in the chair thinking, well, yeah, I can't wait to play, or I hope and then all of a sudden that's you and you're out there and you got to make that play. And you find out, was he really paying attention? Were you focused? Were you engaged? Were you believing that you're going to be in that position at some point and having a chance to affect the outcome of the game?
Field goal block or field goal rush. Some of the things that we don't see recognize that something is blocked or give up a block.
Yeah, no, to your comment last week, like what's out there that the other team's looking at, and that's what you're always looking at, and you say field goal block. This morning we met with field goal block, and that's kind of what I was thinking, like what is on that film that they're looking at saying, hey, man, there's a weakness, or you guys aren't doing a good enough job. And I think you're always looking for that stuff. And that's really what it is. You're just trying to make sure you got, everything covered, and you're trying to get better and better and play better. Yeah, it looks that way, and it's really much of just kind of how the game's played out. So those two safeties, really they play. There's really kind of what I call the four core teams. So that's your kickoff return, punt return. And then you got field goal and field goal block. To me, that's a little bit separate. But anyways, those guys, the two safeties, what's happened to them is they play on kickoff, and they play kind of a lower impact position. There's safeties for us on that kickoff, and so it's a little bit slower play, a little bit easier play for them. So I don't see it as kind of as demanding what we're asking them to do. Obviously, it could be, but it's definitely important. That's why they're out there for it. They can erase something bad happens in front of them. But so they've played on kickoff. Well, we've scored a bunch of points and we've kicked off a bunch. So that's one. And then two is they play on field goal block. And so then their rep count, when you just look at it at the end of the game, rep count looks high. And it's like, hey, they're not playing that many plays. But, yeah, so I would say that's the two safety things. That is I think the last 2 weeks, I think, is we played them out there on the kickoff. And that's a little bit different. Some of that's due to who's up, who's down.
Just wondering your assessment of Raymond James Stadium, field conditions, and like that could impact play later on.
Yeah, I played there a handful of times. It's always been a nice place to play, I think. You know, it's supposed to be pretty nice out there. I think this weekend, Sunday afternoon, I don't know, 80 degrees, 13-mile-per-hour winds, gusting 10 to 20, something like that. It's not like I don't check it every day. If you want to know the weather, just ask the special teams coach. But, yeah. Or the kicker or the punter. Those guys all know. But, no, it'll be fun to play outdoors. You get totally spoiled playing inside. Everything's just so consistent, which is nice. And there's some advantages to that and there's some disadvantages. But it'll be fun to play there. I do think that every time I've been there, it's been what I would say just a fairly friendly place to play in terms of conditions and weather. And I think I said this to you guys last year when we were talking about Carolina, but the ball tends to travel well both directions, the way I see it. And then when you look at the breakdown on the field goals and whatever, the one end zone versus the other end zone is pretty similar. In totality, it's the same, basically.
I know they're trying to work some wings into the offense, but just because of the speed and the experience in college and turning kids, is there any type of conversation about maybe trying to allow them to, get a warmed up and
We're going to play him at gunner this week. But now we probably can't because if you guys create an uproar, it's out. No. I think the priority for him right now is to get him up and going on offense. But I think at some point you're always looking to put your best players on the field or in a position to impact the game the most you can. So I think that's always an option or something to always keep in mind or think about. Him, Gibbs, all these guys. I know Gibbs has been down or was down last week, but those guys are always looking to see if there's an opportunity or a position you can put them in. I still think it's awkward to me because it's like, it's one play a game maybe. We've had 2 returns on the season, and it's like, you play that guy 60 plays, you want to try to get him out in space, and here's a chance to get a guy out in space in one play, or 2 plays in 5 games. And I don't know, the whole injury thing, that's like a totally different conversation. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen our returner get hurt yet, so. Or is Gunner days over? I say never say never.